Can a tiny reef in the South China Sea lead to a major international conflict? The events unfolding there might make you think so. Welcome to the South China Sea, a region that has been a hotbed of maritime disputes for several years. This body of water, stretching over 1.5 million square miles, is more than just a vast blue expanse. It's a crucial international crossroads, bustling with commercial shipping routes, abundant fishing grounds, and beneath its waves, potential oil and gas reserves. But what makes this sea particularly contentious are the overlapping territorial claims from various nations, each vying for their piece of the maritime pie. The most recent spark in this powder keg involves the Philippines and China. Picture this, a tranquil day off the coast of Palawan, Philippines, when suddenly, approximately 135 Chinese vessels are spotted near Whitsun Reef. This is not a friendly neighborhood visit. The Philippines Coast Guard is on high alert. National Security Advisor Eduardo Ano labels their presence as illegal. This is not the first time Chinese vessels have been seen in contested waters, but the sheer number this time is alarming. The South China Sea is like an intricate chessboard, with each move calculated and every piece critical. China's claim to most of the sea has long been a point of contention, leading to escalating tensions with its neighbors, especially the Philippines. The presence of these Chinese vessels is seen as more than just a display of maritime power. It's viewed as an intimidation tactic, causing not only political unrest but also economic impacts on local communities that depend on these waters for their livelihood. As the Chinese vessels continue to gather, the tension in the South China Sea is palpable, but how did we get here? The roots of this dispute date back to decades, tangled in a web of history, power, and territorial claims. The South China Sea, a vital waterway for global trade, is the epicenter of this contention. Several nations lay claim to parts of this sea, but the most assertive amongst them is China. Beijing asserts rights to nearly the entire South China Sea, a claim that is hotly contested by other nations, including the Philippines. The Philippines, a country with over 7,000 islands, has long disputed China's expansive claims. In an effort to protect its sovereignty, the Philippines took a bold step in 2013 by taking its case to the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. This international tribunal is tasked with resolving disputes between nations, and in this case, it was asked to adjudicate on the legality of China's claims. In 2016, after 3 years of deliberation, the tribunal issued a landmark ruling. The court ruled in favor of the Philippines, stating that China's claims over the South China Sea had no legal basis under international law. This ruling was seen as a major victory for the Philippines and a rebuke to China's territorial ambitions. But China, undeterred by the international ruling, rejected the tribunal's decision. Beijing continued to assert its sovereignty over the disputed sea, disregarding the tribunal and the principles of international law. This defiance of international norms has led to an increase in Chinese maritime activities in the region, including the construction of artificial islands and the deployment of its coast guard and fishing fleet. Despite the international ruling, China has continued to assert its presence in the region, escalating the tension. The ongoing dispute has transformed the South China Sea into a powder keg, with the potential to ignite a larger conflict. As we delve deeper into this issue, it's crucial to understand the roots of this dispute and the complex dynamics at play. In the last few months, the dispute has escalated into outright confrontation. The waters are no longer just disputed, now they are a battlefield. The Philippines has been vocal in its accusations against China's aggressive actions in the South China Sea, painting a picture of intimidation and power display. The nation has reported numerous instances of Chinese vessels swarming the waters off its coast, particularly near the Whitsun Reef. Over 135 vessels were observed, leading to concerns about China's maritime power display. The tension ramped up further when the Chinese Coast Guard obstructed Filipino vessels near the Scarborough Shoal. This incident, which occurred during a resupply mission, was not a quiet affair. Videos emerged showing Chinese Coast Guard ships targeting the Filipino vessels, a clear and provocative attempt to assert control over the disputed waters. But the aggression did not stop there. Chinese maritime militia vessels took the confrontation to a new level with their dangerous maneuvers. These actions, far from subtle, were designed to cause discomfort and fear among the Filipino crew members. The Chinese vessels engaged in tactics that not only threatened the safety of the Filipino sailors, but also challenged the sovereignty of the Philippines over its territorial waters. China's response to the accusations was to claim control measures were taken against the intruding vessels. This dismissal of the concerns raised by the Philippines only served to fuel the fire, further heightening the tension between the two nations. The South China Sea, once a vast expanse of water known for its rich marine life and economic potential, is now marked by the scars of these confrontations. It has become a hotspot for maritime disputes, its waters a stage for power plays and territorial assertions. The tranquility of the sea has been replaced by the ominous presence of patrol boats and the echoing radio challenges between the Philippine and Chinese vessels. The escalation from a territorial dispute to outright confrontation has cast a long shadow over the South China Sea. The waters are no longer just a point of contention. They have become a battlefield, a stage for power plays and territorial assertions. As the confrontations continue, the South China Sea has become a hotspot for maritime disputes, with no resolution in sight. The South China Sea dispute has far-reaching implications, not just for the countries directly involved, but for the world at large. The presence of Chinese vessels in contested waters poses not only a political threat, but also a significant economic impact on local communities. The livelihood of many Filipinos, particularly those in the fishing industry, is directly affected by these maritime tensions. In response to these actions, the Philippines has ramped up its public criticism of China's maritime power display. The nation is not sitting idly by. It has sought closer military ties with the United States, signaling a strategic move to counter Chinese influence in the region. Looking ahead, the future of this dispute remains clouded in uncertainty. Will international arbitration succeed in resolving these territorial claims? Can diplomatic negotiations ease the tension? Or will the military posturing escalate into a full-blown conflict? These are complex questions with no easy answers. But one thing is clear, the South China Sea dispute is a significant geopolitical issue that demands the world's attention. As the world watches, the South China Sea remains a fuse waiting for a spark. The question is, who will strike the match?